Spawning the bottom left in the blue, he is the Vanguard player. It is Gamefriend. And in the upper right in the red, the Celestial, giving us something that is not Infernal versus Vanguard. It's very exciting. Or sorry, Infernal versus Infernal. It's very exciting. It's going to be Aureil here, who has been rapidly playtesting things. And by the way, there was a little bit of graphical errors, if you just saw it. Please, that is a issue specifically with my system. I try to run DLSS as long as I can, but there's some issues that the most recent patch introduced. Apparently it's pretty rare, but I have it, and for the most part it's fine, so we're just going to keep it as it is. If it becomes a problem, I will sacrifice a little bit of performance and turn it off, but if it's going to be extremely sporadic, then we're just going to stay with it. As for now, we got interesting things getting set up here. So Therium Purifier on the natural and on the main base, very heavy on the Therium mining coming out of Aureil right now, which tells us that this is going to be some sort of tech opener coming out of the Celestial player. Aureil has very much been one of these players that really enjoys playing up into tier 2 as quickly as possible, goes up to Seraphim, Archangels, against Infernals though, to be fair, but enjoys going into this higher tier tech, playing around with that one. But for this game, it seems like Aureil's going to be playing around with this concept of these more buffed vectors. As we see another Purifier going down. There was a Prism here at the natural, but I guess that was used to just shore up the main base production. Okay. So this is one of the things that you can do where you go and you get a free Prism when you build a Therium Purifier. So you can go build a Purifier early and use that to fully saturate your natural very quickly. But even still, Prism's going down. We're going to see an Ascension Matrix getting started, which means we're going to be able to get the, the blink pro, there we go, recall potential getting started, which means that you can blink backwards and forwards. Can make the vectors rather effective. And also, as you take a look at this setup here, Vector's pretty good at dealing with a lot of these light camps, just because of how Vectors work, right? Bonus damage versus light in the volley, so they're going to start to work away at the health camp. And well, Gamefriend for his part looks like by the way, I have not seen a lot of this meta. It's been a lot of Infernals, but we're going to see the medtech idea in this Celestial versus Vanguard type of idea. Just go on mass nano swarm, because that's a pretty good option. You go mass nano swarm, you just shut down these units that have less than 200 HP. It's just a guaranteed death. It's a guaranteed victory, or not even a guaranteed victory, just a guaranteed death for the first vector that takes it maybe a little bit more if you get sectioned away as this vector pulls out in time. There we go. It eats Alpha Flower. It's going to be good. So this is Mass Vector versus, looks like Lancer Medtech with an eventual Hanger follow-up. So moving into Hornets behind that. And, well, Vector's very good against Hornets. They can do very nicely. But I am a little bit worried about their ability to deal with Lancer Medtech. They don't do bonus damage to either of them. They do bonus damage to heavy, not light. Yes, they're mobile, but eventually if you just kind of get your head forced in it, it's not going to work out for you incredibly well. But of course, you do have a lot of ability to be mobile. You do have a lot of ability to harass. You have this high ground vision. And with recall potential done, you can blink in, kill off some workers, kill off, well, maybe a sentry post if that's what you want to do, and then just blink back home. Yeah, there we go. So kills off the sentry post. Doesn't really get any servos, I don't think. But kills off the sentry post, and a bunch more vectors on the way where that came from. Meanwhile, System Shock just about done here. EdTech's continuing. And by the way, the value of getting these upgrades is not just to get Nanoswarm, to get System Shock, to be able to move faster, to have these offensive damage over time abilities that can be so impactful, but also it gives half an energy point per second more regen. So it gives you this opportunity. It makes sure you have more spells coming out of Medtech as the game continues on forward. So Solar Habitat's going to be the victim for now. It's heavy. It's going to be fine. It's not really going to take all that much. And a lot of these vectors getting rather low. So they're going to have to retreat across the map. We do have a couple savers getting started here. And while vectors do not really deal with this army really all that well at all, we can see how much damage they get done. The sabers do. Sabers do bonus damage, 90 damage versus heavy on this dark matter cannon. They do quite a bit. So for now, Vectors get on top of, getting down some of these medtechs is very nice. And they're going to be able to jump around the Purify. Please, there we go. Nanoswarm is going to be removed on the Purify. And they're just hunting these medtechs down. Really, all but one are going to fall. And, well, oh, wait, no, they're going to jump back in once again here. They get it. Blink out. There we go. And yes, they do take bonus damage for that one, but that was a very, very nice move coming out of Aureil. Now, the problem is you just lost a lot of your anti-air, and we're looking at Evac Atlas on the way. So now we got Evac Atlas here. By the way, new Evac model looks pretty good, but we got Evac Atlas on the setup, and without these vectors, you're not just going to be able to blink on top of the Evac. It is heavy, does take some damage, but you're not just going to be able to blink on top of the Evac with 10 or 12 vectors and take it down. So it's a little bit harder to counter what's happening. And certainly Sabers are good, especially, well, actually, this is Celestial Hyperdrive. So that's not core ascendancy, but now vectors are going to blink down. They are looking here for whatever they can find, trying to take the Atlas down, but the shield there is going to be there in time, and the siege will continue. And you've got to remember, Atlas has a lot more range, 5 more range. It does bonus damage versus heavy. These Sabers don't really want to get in range of the Atlas unless they can guarantee the fact that they're going to be able to nuke it down. So now taking advantage of the fact that there was a shot off, which means they can now move in. Atlases do not fire very quickly, is the calculus that you're looking for. So you look at the Atlas, it fires every 4.5 seconds, which means that you can go and you can dive in when the Atlas has fired a shot off and try to kill off an exchange and run into that range and then run out of that range and play around with that one. Of course, the evac makes that a little bit more difficult. Eon Gate out of the link node on the left side here. It's going to get surged up so it's invisible soon enough, I would assume. And this is pretty fun. Aureil loves this move, as we're going to see a lot of structures go down. Guardian Nexus will fall. Collection Array will fall to the Hornets at the backside. So Aureil is only on 2 bases. But this Eon Gate, there we go. Surged up, a bunch of stuff popping into it. A little bit of harass, actually not. Yeah, there we go. Okay, so there's a lot of Sabers here moving on to the other side of the map. And certainly it is always a little bit weird that the flak battery has longer range than the siege units do. But we're going to see this really just getting taken down, even though it has been reinforced and bulwarked. It should go down eventually as more and more Sabers are going to start to arrive, and the entire army of our Vanguard players to retreat on home. You got to be careful here when you've done this move from Aureil, because if the Eon Gate goes down, you're going to be marooned. You are trapped. It's difficult, but now playing around the Eon Gate as much as possible here. Nice concave coming out now, a little bit more vision, so the cloaked units, they're not going to show as much. They're popping in, they're popping out just to get that cloak ability. Fire a shot, pop back in, pop back out, and it is a beautiful play coming out of Aureil here, taking down the good majority of the Vanguard army, looking to take down this evac as well. Atlas on the high ground doing what they can, but for right now, this move, the Eon Gate is still here. And this micro from Aureil to pop back in, to get that cloak up, pop back out. Sure, there was a sensor drone that was used, but even still, that was a beautiful play out of Aureil, and now the Natural's dead. All he's got to do at this point, take down this evac. You want to be building vectors. There we go, 7 of them at a time. That includes what is being being queued, by the way, so it's not quite 7, but building a lot of them at a time here. And you just want to build enough vectors that you can just jump on top of this evac and kill it. That is really what you're looking for at this point, is now big drop. Servo's repairing as much as possible. But it does feel like at this point, Aureil has done enough here. Now, look at that. Invisible vectors try to get on top of the evac. Ooh, very close. Not going to take it down, but we'll get the Sentinels and continue to chase back home. Sentinels fall, Hornets fall. These vectors are not really handled. And remember, Atlases do bonus damage versus heavy, not versus light. Atlas takes damage. Vectors blink out for now. But this micro on the Eon Gate has done so much here. The Eon Gate interactions look more like bug abuse than a legit strategy. I don't agree at all, Mosaic Gamer. It's not a bug. When you go into an Eon Gate, you get cloaked. When you go out of an Eon Gate, when you go into an Eon Gate, or sorry, when you leave a cloaked Eon Gate, you get cloaked. That's how that works. being able to micro into and out of the Eon Gate that's not a bug abuse. That's just the design of the unit. Just because we haven't seen someone do it until now does not mean that it's bug abuse. I think it's really cool. And also, there's a pretty easy answer. We saw this. We saw just a little bit of energy being used by Gamefriend. He dropped the sensor drone. That's a detector. It minimized a lot of the impact of that tech. As cool as it was, it had immediate counterplay. Blink does have a cooldown. Mikem, Vector. Those are big Atlas shots, but Vectors do have a cooldown. I forget exactly what it is, but yeah, you don't get just like infinite blinks. You do have to go forward and go back. Yeah. Now, are you saying that there needs to be a cooldown between when you can move forward and when you can move back? AKA, you need to be able to, once you commit in, there should be like a 2-second window before you can recall. I'm not even sure that I agree with that. I have not looked at this game and said, wow, I think the Vectors are really overpowered. I've not looked at this game and said, wow, I think the Atlas is overpowered or anything like, or the Sabers are overpowered. I've looked at this game and said, wow, I think Aureil's gameplay is really cool. Oh, and by the way, Double Hangar Bay proxy base on the north side. Gamefriend is still staying into this game, and Aureil has backed out of this for now. Eon Gate rather. Oh, wait, no, they're never mind. They're in. That's a little scary, though. We can see the problem popping out of this Eon Gate if there's any sort of detection. And actually, you don't even need detection here with the Atlases. You can just ground target and take them down. We can see the problem. You pop out, you're all very clumped. You're sitting in this burning pyre of an Atlas shot, and it's a very difficult thing to deal with. So we are going to see repair protocol being used. Nanoswarm as well is going to take down a lot of these, but luckily, I think you can hide in the Eon Gate and dodge some of that damage. As we can see, the Eon Gate took about half damage from these Atlases. The ground burning effect was a problem, but now Gamefriend's only on one base mining here, and now, yeah, we're gonna see the Atlases. They're just, yeah. Notice sensor drone sent. You didn't have to spend the sensor drone. There is a Sentinel, but this Eon Gate is gonna get taken down. Aureil is only on one base. Actually, sorry, Aureil's not mining. Main base mined out. Natural has mined out. We're not seeing them move over anywhere else just yet. And Gamefriend does have a mining base. Gamefriend does have a bit of economy here. There's a couple units are going to pop out of this Eon Gate, then dodge away looking for the trades. But Gamefriend, to be clear, is not out of this game whatsoever. A couple units are going to get out of the Eon Gate. That kind of feels like it was a mistake. I think he just let it sit. But Aureil needs to know needs to figure out what's happening here. Needs to find. If Aureil finds this base, they're fine, most likely. But I mean, even as I say that, a lot. Wait a minute here. I didn't realize how much it died coming out of the Eon Gate here. Gamefriend is up 17 supply. It's only 3 Sabers and a Vector in this Eon Gate here, and the Atlas is just serving as this fantastic counter. Another collection array is going to fall down. This Atlas drop micro is just, you can't use the Eon Gate in this way that Aureil used at the very beginning. It just does not work. So now we got a couple prisms running away to this base on the right side that is starting to mine once again. Aureil has some money, but Gamefriend, this proxy hidden base that I didn't quite notice at first, is doing so much for them. So we're going to see evolution protocol and a couple of these camps really just to get as much money as possible with the prisms. Don't know how much energy Aureil has. This is an overlay bug. They're not just at 50. But we're going to see Aureil just move around and just hoover up as much money on the map from this evolution protocol. And also get a siege camp. That's fun. But Aureil has an army right now that struggles. That does not deal with this well whatsoever. One Atlas shot kills off a lot of these structures. And now Aureil was already in a bit of a pickle. They're even more of a pickle now. Maybe you can make this work with a couple scythes. Everything's going to have to pop out of this last Eon Gate, but the ground burn makes life rather difficult indeed. Nanoswarm doing what it can, but we don't have tensor over. We don't have tensor shot. What's it called? Tensor something. That wasn't done yet, so you didn't get a bunch of bonus damage, and we just saw all of the scythes die. Aureil, this proxy base out of the north side and just really nice turtle gameplay, really nice hot pickup micro on these on this single evac has made it nigh impossible for Aureil to go and play the game they want to play anymore. They built themselves a massive lead. He killed off the natural. He killed off a lot of structures, but survive long enough, and he did not develop his economy well enough in exchange, which means now that he has no mining. There's very little money available on the map for Aureil right now. The siege camp is going to do something, but Aureil really has no way to recover this game at this point. It's all going to be, I wish we had a units tab. Unfortunately, we do not have a units tab, but the only way that Aureil is going to come back into this game at this point is just some insane vector micro, and Aureil's kind of realizing at this point that there's got to be something here. There has to be something wrong. So, yep, okay, on the high ground is now going to find what's happening. Finally, Aureil has found this base, but this feels like way too little, way too late. And even the servos here, because while you're sitting here and you're taking 50% bonus damage off the delta jump, these scythes, these vectors are not going to last long enough, and the siege on the other side has killed off everything. Aureil has to tap out. What a game one from both players. This was very cool. So here we are. It's game number 2, Gamefriend. Honestly, comeback of the century in game number 1. Lost his natural, lost so much stuff. Aureil really styling on us with the Eongate play. Was super cool. But Gamefriend playing on the evac. Evac Atlas micro did a great job there. But really it was that hidden base on the north side. Got some servos out, was able to go and Aureil was under this idea that, well, I got 2 bases, my opponent has 1. I've done such a good job. I made this counterattack happen. I found the pressure release valve. I should win the game at this point. And I think if Aureil had known that there was another base out there, well, assuming he doesn't kill it, which would have been the optimal solution, but even if that's not a thing, he would have gone and built another base. Not played quite so as balls to the wall all in, because he thought the game was over. He thought he had the game. It's like, yes, my opponent doesn't have mining. I'm like, sure, I'm good. I'm doubling up his mining. It's going to be fine. But that wasn't the case. And so Aureil kind of wedged his way into this brick wall, lost too many sabers off of the Atlas micro, and just was not quite enough. CVC, if we ever see it, is a lot more interesting in this match. I'm willing to believe that. Removing prime structures has done... I haven't seen a single game of CVC, of Celestial Mirror, but I am willing to bet, and this is where we are, is that the removal of prime structures has done so much to allow us to tech up in the Celestial Mirror in a way that was just not possible before, because you would just get 3, 4, 5 Argents shoved into your face at a time. It just was not... Teching up meant you died. So I'm excited to see that if we ever see it. I can't remember. I know Aureil is a Celestial player. I don't remember if there are any other Celestials signed up in the tournament right now, this week. Atlas drop is quite hard to deal with as Celestials. Yes, it's quite hard to deal with as any faction. Swakes. It's a great avenue of skill expression. It might... Oh, HYY is. Thank you. Emma Surround. It might be... what's the word? It might need, like... It might require, like, slightly better anti-air to be fair. I'm not sure. But it is one of those things where I think if Aureil had not lost 8 of their 12 vectors to go kill off the medtechs, which I think was... one can argue that was worth it. Killing off those medtechs, removing Nanoswarm from play is awesome, especially when you're going this very mechanical heavy style. But if you had 12 vectors instead of 4, then when the evac runs forward, you blink all the vectors on top. You might suicide them, doesn't matter. You kill the evac, and then the Atlases are not nearly as effective. Atlases with evacs, incredible units, rather oppressive. Atlases without evacs, they die very fast. You just jump on top of them. They're not all that great. Yeah, DH is saying the last patch was honestly a huge improvement in all non-infernal matchups. Well, once we got past 0.4, where Celestials were mining like twice whatever anyone else was mining. Yes, heavily agree. I very much agree with that one, DH So we just need to bring Infernals back down to earth. And as a reminder, by the way, if you want to support this tournament this week or the finals, that's going to happen eventually, but if you want to support this tournament, go to Matcherino, !Matcherino, claim codes at the very least. You can also donate if you'd like to. to make sure that these players make a little bit of something, make a little bit of money for spending their Sunday entertaining us. CVV is really hard, says Swix. I believe that. Just from what we've seen. Aureil, although again, I think the reason Aureil lost that game was more than anything just a really a function of overconfidence, not having the correct read on the game, which in fairness, that is what Gamefriend wanted. Having that proxy base made life, having that proxy base won him the game. But for now, Scan goes down. A bunch of Vectors dive on top of the flat cannon. They're going to be able to kill that off, and that's going to be a dead Exo as well. So they don't kill any workers, but they do. Was that an overcharge? No, okay. So no overcharge force, but they do pull all the bobs off the worker line. That does deny mining a little bit. They kill off a sentry post, kill off an Exo. It's something. And we're seeing this kind of harass tool of these Vectors in the early game that you're looking for whatever you can find. So in this case, you can play on the edge, maybe, well, okay, that's not going to happen. I was going to say maybe kill off the mech bay that's building Atlases. That's not going to happen, but now blinking the main base. I like this one, but there was a flak turret there already, so you're not going to get a lot anyways. And Aureil gets like 1 or 2 servos. That's really going to be the extent of it for the most part. Okay, there we go. There's a free sentry post on the backside. And we do have to remember that these Vectors are kind of trapped here. They don't have scans available anymore, so it's not great. But a couple servos will go down. And okay, there's the blink. So now free onto the other side as another scan comes off cooldown. And now Aureil got a little bit of harassment done. It's like, come on, guys, please. I can see where they're going to come back. Surely they're going to recall. Surely they're not going to recall. But we do have evac on the way. Second Atlas getting started here. Sky Sprint retrofit being completed. And we're just getting into that. For now, the stage of the game so for now, Aureil has been the aggressive one. Aureil has been the player that is active on the map, is putting pressure on the map with everything, and has been the active player on the map. But now, with the evac done and the Atlas is here, this is a setup now where this is going to be Gamefriend's time to be active on the map. Well, that's unfortunate. That's going to be a dead link node and a dead morph core pretty much immediately. This is where Aureil wanted to put, which is kind of cool. This is where Aureil wanted to put his Eon Gate. That's not really going to be a thing right now because, of course, you put the Eon Gate here, then you just cut through the trees, and it's a beautiful siege into the natural. So that's not going to happen. Instead, there's going to be Eon Gate on the left side, putting pressure onto the third base. Also totally viable as behind this upgrades continue. So repair protocol or whatever it's called. There we go. Core Ascendancy is about halfway done. We do have Tensor Pulse on behind that one, which means you do bonus damage to flyers close by, which is going to be very important to deal with these evacs and the Hornets later on. But for now, Vectors blink on top. They're not going to take it down, but it is a lot of damage getting done. Unfortunately, Nanoswarm does exist, but Aureil trying to play around on the edge of things right now. Atlas not sieged up here. Nanoswarm is, that's a lot of Nanoswarms, but Aureil does have a Purify for now, so that's going to be able to get removed for the most part here. Vectors continue to try to dive on top of this evac. Oh, they're going to get it down. They do that. 2 Atlas in the drain. And we talked about this last time about how this was what Aureil needed to do. You're losing the Vectors for this, unfortunately. Nanoswarm is a powerful beast. But this was what Aureil had to do in the last game. Take that evac down pretty much at all costs. And remove a lot of the power, a lot of the microability that Gamefriend had. So now Eon Gate just about done on the west side. Eon Gate in the speed zone already here. And this is going to get surged up. There it is. And we're going to see a bunch of Vectors, a bunch of Sabers pop in, pop out on the other side, and immediately start to go to town and get aggressive. Certainly the scrapyard does not seem viable. It does not seem like that's going to survive all that long. More link nodes going down, just really enhancing the Cascade field. Start to move that forward. Maybe you get a Guardian Nexus. Maybe you get an Ascension Matrix. All these things are very valuable. As a bunch of, oh hey, that's fun. Unfortunately, pathing means that the servos decided to run through the new gap in the tree. So it did tell Gamefriend what was happening. Maybe a little bit too little, maybe a little bit too late, as now we have all of these Sabers running through. Vectors trying to get on top of the Atlas, but they're going to get evac first. So that means that this is just a sitting duck now. And we don't even have Plasma Arc Infusion done either. So there's nothing to really stop. Yes, the Vectors will take some Atlas damage, but they're not punished from just sitting there and killing them off over and over and over again. So this really third and fourth base of Gamefriend likely to fall down. There's a lot of damage in these sabers. Core Ascendancy is going to, or I guess technically under self-repair right now, is going to keep you alive against the Nanoswarm, and then the siege is going to continue. More and more sabers being made. They're actually just, well, I don't know where they're rallying across the map just yet, but now Vectors are going to get made as well here, which means there is a better and better solution. Yeah, to this evac. It's just going to take so much damage. Yes, there's a Nanoswarm, but you can purify that off if you need to. Just split this one away. You're gonna be fine. And remember, Nanoswarm only does 200 damage. Nanoswarm does not 100 to 0 these Vectors. They're gonna be okay. Or these sides, they're gonna be okay. They're gonna stay alive. And this fourth base position is dead. I'm a little surprised, by the way, that Aureil is not killing this Therium base. But killing off the production, killing off the Luminite income probably matters just a little bit more. And we're seeing this slow creep of Eon Gates further and further forward. I'm not, okay, just recloaking units once again. That's fine. But now pressure into the main base here coming out of Aureil. I just love how he plays this style. We've seen this is definitely a game. This is definitely winnable. Maybe not this game. This game is pretty bad. But this is definitely winnable. This style is definitely beatable for Vanguards. But it's a very crisp timing. And if you don't handle it properly, you will absolutely lose. So for now, this flat cannon just gets annihilated. Blink of an eye. High command is going to be the next target, and we're looking at 90 damage a shot versus heavy. High command is absolutely a heavy structure. It's just going to get taken down. Yeah, it's bursted. There's not a whole lot you can do. Vectors, excuse me, sides run in off the top. Skyman's actually trigger off them, so that's maybe not the best trade, all things considered. They're going to get taken down by these Hornets. That's not great, and it does mean that this army is going to have to retreat back home, but what is this? 1, 2, 3, 4, 5 strike nodes? That's not easy to deal with. Once you got an Atlas, you're going to be fine, but good unit. They pop out, they just alpha strike the hell out of that, and that's going to be another dead Atlas. So this is just, it's really hard. Sides, by the way, showing up in the main base once again. It's hard to just get this answer going. And sides, well, we do have the sky mines, and you do need Vectors to deal with the sky mines for the most part. But now the pressure, the main base is dead. No mining from that whatsoever. Production here, double hangar bay is something, but it's not enough money really from Gamefriend to produce enough. And this slow creep of the Vanguard right is gonna Aureil is gonna try to answer that. And this is a composition where you do have to be careful. If you don't have enough anti-air, you're gonna be in trouble. If you don't have enough anti-ground, you're going to be in trouble. So Aureil has to be very careful about how exactly he continues to develop his army, whether he builds more sabers, whether he builds more Vectors, whether he builds more sides. He wants to make sure that he has an answer both to the mass Hornet that exists and the evacs that exist, but also these Atlases on the ground. So sabers now, they're going to dive in here. Nanoswarm not really going to get cast just yet, and Sky Mines are going to slow things down. Purify is very strong there, just making sure that you remove the sky mines as much as possible, because those slows, coupled with everything else, coupled with this Nanoswarm, these sides were very healthy. Now they're not. So now Eon Gate shows up once again. We can see how once you get Plasma Arc Infusion, how much of a counter that is to this kind of pop in, pop out style that works really well up until that point, as these sides continue to take damage with the Vectors doing really nice now. And every defensive Nanoswarm is not an aggressive Nanoswarm. That is a very important thing to remember, because you want these Nanoswarms to force the Vectors to split. You want these Nanoswarms to do just guaranteed 200 damage to everything, to a bunch of units in this army. But if you have to use them to keep your Hornets alive, you're not really going to have them to go and kill off the enemy. And that's a very important thing to consider. Is now Aureil wise to just this rightward expansion style that Gamefriend's been doing, where he's just like, yeah, okay, I lose bases, I build more bases, is not going to fall victim to the proxy bases once again. Aureil is going to kill this off this time, especially in the end. These Hornets, they're not going to be able to harass anything. Maybe one's going to get at patch the cordon, but it's not really a lot. And sure, this Eon Gate will fall. We got a sentry drone there to detect it, and this Eon Gate will fall down. But Aureil's taking out the rest of the bases. This is truly a one-base Vanguard at this point. Unlike the last game where Gamefriend was able to sneak a base out and survive that and be okay with that. That is not what's happening this time. So Aureil takes out the last outlying base, takes off a lot of the servos, and Gamefriend, while his supply is still kind of okay, it's not great, still kind of okay, 100 supply or so, he doesn't have any money. Here, scouts would be great to do Luminite in versus sabers. Versus the vectors, yeah, absolutely. But scouts don't do a lot versus sabers. Sabers are heavy; they do splash damage, and scouts are light units. So, unless you're just saying like a blade of armor to go and tank the damage. But now, okay, blink in on these sides or on the vectors. Once again, they're actually not going to kill anything. That's a little bit awkward. When you go back here, that is exactly where the Atlases want to fight, but okay, well, you're just going to run in there, pop the boost, pop the healing, and Gamefriend's going to get forced out of here on Isle of Dread. Stormy, we get to move to game 3. This matchup is pretty cool. So here we are, it's game 3. Aureil has, there was a world where Aureil won this thing 2-0. Now, unfortunately, did not quite work out that well for them. They lost from what I think was a fairly winning position because of just a proxy base they didn't find and some very nice micro on the side of Gamefriend. But it's another day, it's another game. They were able to make it work on Isle of Dread, a bigger map. But now we are on Jagged Maw. Closest rush by air map, and certainly the Morph Core rush is banned in every tournament that has been on the ban list for the last 6 months or so. But closest by air, certainly. But if the game goes long enough, it can be a very cool split map late game scenario. Yeah, Delirious, I said so. I saw someone call my sub counter a scam. Hey, Alchemy. Hey, thank you so much for the Twitch Prime. Saying, oh, I wish I could sub, but I'm broke. But yes, Twitch Prime is free if you have an Amazon Prime account. Or, and here's the trick, if someone in your family has an Amazon Prime account that you have access to and you talk to them about it, obviously don't do that without talking to them. But if they don't use Amazon Prime, you can link it to your Twitch account and support your favorite streamer for an extra $2.50 a month. I forgot the score. Thank you. There we go. We're 1-1. But yeah, DH/July, thank you so much for the Prime sub as well. Glad you're enjoying everything that's happening. No sellouts here, it's fine. By the way, something very cool that's happening in this game, it's a second arc ship, which means double morph cores, which means more energy to go heal up your units early on is, well, we have this creation chamber. Nothing's coming out of it though. And this Lancer Scout problem is taking down the power banks, which means we're in yellow power, which means it just takes so much longer to build everything. That Aureil's in a little bit of a pickle here in this early game. Certainly the supplies are equal, but the natural's done. There's more production on the way, and Aureil has not built a single unit whatsoever. Doesn't really have a lot of power either. So we're in this situation now where Aureil now has power if Aureil wants to go and drop a Sovereign's Watch just to force this out. And okay, that's gonna happen. So the scout's gonna micro away. We'll die. Okay, range is there, crazily enough, but looks like Aureil's content to soak the damage for now. Lost a power bank. That's not great, but Vector's gonna get started here. Ascension Matrix on the way as well, so you can get recall potential. And I love what Gamefriend did, although the micro doesn't really work out that well. He ran out of range of Sovereign's Watch, so Sovereign's Watch really triggered on the slime, which meant that he was able to run back in and tank some damages. Now we're going to see the shield here. It tanks 1,000 HP. It really is hard to kill off through this. But this Vector continues to kite away. Certainly the creation chamber is done, but you're not really... Oh, Aureil, that was so sick. Blinks forward the body block against the Lancer. So Ascension Matrix, not even the Ascension Matrix. So the Sovereign Watch kills off the second Lancer. That was super cool. But anyway, yeah, going back to Delirious' thought for just a second, I do think people have forgotten what the term scam means. A scam is when you promise something for some return and you get for some remuneration, money, time, whatever it is, and you get the person to give you that money, time, whatever, but you don't give them what you promised. you know? So people say, ah, yeah, Stormgate's a scam. I mean, we have a game that we can play. You may not like it. It may be something that is not exactly what you were hoping for, but to say that it's a scam and that the money was just taken, they've spent all the money that they've spent on hiring developers and leasing technology and doing all this stuff. I mean, to call it a scam is just wild. In much the same way that saying, hey, my sub counter is dynamically updating as a scam is, I think it's funny. Bakken and Proto saying there are no codes for this bracket. Oh, that's unfortunate. That is very unfortunate. Look, man, it's not a scam if Bale needs money. Well, I'm a grad student, Orsenum, so yes, I always need money. We don't make a lot of money as grad students, particularly in the funding world of academia right now, where it's not great. But anyways, these vectors taking down the vision tower, which means they know that everything is coming. And I like the addition of a couple exos here, a little bit more range. One vector runs forward, eats the healing fruit, but no, it's going to get sniped down in time. Purify is going to be there, sucks all the energy away from these medtechs, which means Nano Swarm is not going to be a threat. And well played there from Aureil. Counterplay does have to spend some power and is going to go down. Is going to get punished for that a little bit. Goes down to yellow power. Production slows down. But in the meantime, took down, didn't actually kill any of the medtechs, but did remove some of the power from the medtechs, and that, or some of the energy from the medtechs, and that's kind of worth it by itself. I think the thought that is someone wants the sub, you're subbing because you want the sub to hit the counter. Yeah, I think that is kind of, all sub counters are fake. Let's be real here. For now, though, we're going to see a bunch of units go in. They're going to kill off as many of these medtechs as possible. And because they're living in Purify, that means ideally you're not sacrificing your vectors, as many of them, for the trade, which is good because as we saw last game, keeping these vectors alive for the evac Atlas play is super important. Although we're not seeing that in this game, which surprises me a little bit. We do have Quick Draw Hustle just about done. So these exos are going to be able to move a little bit faster once they start shooting. Actually, no. Okay, the Atlases are on the way. I was looking at this, I'm like, yeah, there's a lot more bio on the map than there was in previous games. A little bit more high tempo of a gameplay coming out of Gamefriend. And I wasn't sure if we were going to see Atlases and evacs, but we will. Although it's going to be Sentinels as the kind of next version of this is now. Okay, you're going to have to drop Purify here. A couple Nano Swarms get dropped, but Split's gonna be okay. And this vector is just gonna fall down, but the defense of the fourth base is there. And now Aureil, they're on 4 bases here. They're mining fairly well, and there's the link node, so we're gonna see, y'all know the drill at this point. Aeon Gate's gonna get dropped somewhere around here, and that's where the counterattack's gonna come from. But Gamefriend, I'm a little surprised to see, well, what's it called? There we go. Haste Spot Dispersal, not Sky Sprint Retrofit. I'm a little surprised to see this Sentinel focused gameplay versus the evac focused gameplay. Although we will get there eventually, but getting this Sentinel early, it is a very powerful unit. Certainly it means the bio can kite a lot better. But I'm a little surprised. Again, I would expect to see it go the other way around. I would expect to see us go and get the evac micro first. But for right now, here's the Aeon Gate. And we're seeing a bunch of link nodes move up on the high ground. The Cascade Field moves forward. And this is a problem here. Gamefriend not quite active enough with the aggression just yet. But so here comes the Sabres running across the map. There's the Ascension Matrix. Searching that up is going to be an additional 20% damage. So you got to make sure, ideally, you clean this up before this structure is done. Or you kill it. Or you kill it, as we're going to see. Well, these are not turning into strike notes for the time being. The ones on the low ground are. Gamefriend has been checkmated here very strongly. He just has this army that's going to have to slow roll the defensive push, but he was not ready for this whatsoever. He didn't know this was coming. He didn't have vision there. Now the natural is dead. A lot of units are going to fall down, and because this evac was a little bit slower, we're just not seeing that. We didn't see that aggressive potential, that kind of oppressive evac micro that we've seen in previous games. So now the natural's dead. Aeon Gate pops up on the high ground, and there's an escape idea. There's an escape hatch out of the, well, okay, there we go. The last Saber's gonna pop out here for the time being, but I said escape hatch. I meant you pop in, you pop out, you get cloaked again. Luckily, there's a sensor drone, so you got a little bit of high ground vision there, but it's a bit of a flank, comes in both sides. Aureil is using this to such incredible effect. I love watching this gameplay. Survivor Protocol is done, but the Exos aren't doing anything. Not nearly enough. It's just a single Atlas. And well, really only a couple of these sabers, and they're just not going to kill everything fast enough. This flanking potential with the multiple Eon gates and Aureil hot swapping between the two is super cool. And I think at this point, Gamefriend dead once again. There's no proxy base idea that they were able to make happen on Boneyard. As we will see, yeah, sure, there is the self-repair is going, so you're not firing while that is happening, and that does mean that the Atlases are actually doing a pretty good job of taking a lot of these down. Plasma Arc Infusion means that as stationary as these sabers are, they will continue to fall, and if you can keep the high command alive, that's going to be pretty good. But I think as these these sides arrive, that's not going to be enough. So it is a one base Vanguard, down 70 supply, versus, actually, there's just not going to be enough of it. Maybe. No, Skymine pretty good. Skymine, it's very solid. So that's going to be that. But now you're hard contained. Now you got these, now you got these strike nodes all over the place. Hornets, they got to get mass repaired. And where's our hangar bay? Did we lose our hangar? No, okay, that's on the left side. But he couldn't return to hangar because that would have run over these strike nodes, and that is a problem. All right, there we go. Making sure the ads don't happen before this game ends. So Aureil would love a Sentinel right now, but just really feels like he needs other things. So we're going to see a Sentinel up eventually. I think Vanguard needs Sentinels against this composition. Sentinel, yeah, detection plus bubble. Well, the bubble is the tier 3 upgraded. That's Sentinel mastery training. So it's not, it doesn't come out fast. But yes, he did have one. He rushed it out and it died a couple times. Now you can use sensor drone, and we did see that used to some effect. But when there's just this much stuff here, if Aureil's on top of it, he just targets it down. That being said, well, that would just pop up on the high ground here. This is the problem. I'm very surprised that Gamefriend has not opted to drop a sensor drone just to kill off this high ground Eon gate. Just the ability for Aureil to just show up immediately and and just put an army right on top of him is a bit of a pickle here. I mean, these Atlas shots are really good. They are doing so much full center mass here. And look at this with the new Hedgehogs as well. They're taking down pretty much all the tech units here. This is a solid hold. The base and the main base has been remade. It's not a high command, but you're fine with that one for now. It's here. It's ready to go. It's mining. And Aureil just lost so much supply. The rocket launcher isn't going to do much of anything. And now the retake's kind of on the way. We don't have an evac once again. It's just a Sentinel. But the Sentinel's here. That provides detection. That provides some level of control. It makes everything move a little bit faster. And this retake from Gamefriend is working out fairly nicely. He doesn't have a natural. That's a problem. He's only on 2 bases versus the 4 bases of Aureil. So this is not one of those games that we saw previously where Aureil did not go and build himself up enough. But if you're able to keep this and maybe get another base going, because there's another Eon gate on the high ground, you cannot allow this to happen. You let another high ground Eon gate pop up. Yeah, no, Eon gates are not that expensive, but they do cost money, and you cannot allow Aureil to get that thing up. And now this high ground siege position is pretty solid here with the Hedgehogs. You're going to be able to take down the Ascension Matrix, which is going to go nerf down these link nodes a little bit more. They're going to do a little bit less damage. And this just has to be Gamefriend. He's got to get this 3rd base up. I think you actually go expand to the left side at this point first, but he has to get this base up. Never count Vanguard out as long as there's at least one Exo on the map. Exos, not great in this composition, honestly. They don't do a ton. But at least as long as there is an Atlas on the map, an evac Atlas, sure. That's an argument I'm willing to have. So now we're going to move out on the map here. This Morph Core is going to get scattered. Whoa, what's this servo doing? Are we turret rushing this? Is that what's happening here? I don't know, but the base is going to fall down. This army of Gamefriend is rather strong, all things considered. Now, got to be careful. You have to be very careful with how this is going to go. because you can still lose a fight in the open field. It has to be a good fight for you to make this happen. But now this Morph Core on the left side, you got to assume that what Aureil wants to do at this point is set up an Eon Gate on the left side and start to push through there. And I don't think Gamefriend has... Gamefriend doesn't... He barely doesn't have... There we go. Okay, so now he sees what's happening. Gamefriend now is aware of this attack moving in. He should be able to handle this for the time being. Eon Gate's not going to get up. It's free money. So that's going to be the dead Link node pretty quickly. That's going to be the dead Eon Gate. That's not going to be allowed. But Eon Gate got up on the right side. And this main base, which, to be fair, is more of a... It's a position of production. There's no money, not really there anymore, but it is a problem indeed. It's so hard to get up on the high ground here. Atlases are going to be brought in, and here's the target. Take down the Eon Gate as quickly as possible. Nano Bubble's going to get dropped in as well, trying to keep things alive. Evac so low, but it's going to get bubbled up. It's going to be fine, and this is going to be okay for now. Gamefriend once again holds on, loses a lot, but is going to be able to take down a decent amount of units, takes down the Eon Gate once again. He has his 4th base up and running, did not lose the main. And now a lot of these vectors, 2 of them have died. I don't think there's a blink available either. So yeah, no, there's no blink available onto the low. No, it did blink out. Where'd it go? I think it just blinked and died. There's going to be another Eon Gate getting taken down here as well. This, well, where are our sentinels? Where are our sentinels here? Oh no, this is a little bit awkward, but well, popping in, popping out. You got to get these Atlases back and sieged. If you can get this plasma arc, get the plasma on top of the Eon Gate, you cannot pop out of here. That's not going to work out. So for now, this has been handled. We need another sentinel. I think they're all dead. I think they're getting taken down pretty much every fight. But where did this army pop out? Okay, popped out of the backside. That's fine. It's going to go back in the Eon Gate now. Where does it want to go? Scythes are going to start to arrive here. We need to see some system shocks on them, some nanoswarms just to take them out as once again the army pops it. Eon Gate gets very low. Purify on top of everything just to remove some of these debuffs. But the Eon Gate, well, that doesn't do a lot. And Aureil continues to not be able to close this game out. This is, oh, evac. So this needs to be returned to hangar. Yep, you got to get that thing out of there. But there's another Sentinel available, which means this is going to fall down. Atlas, they're not sieged, and Atlases unsieged don't really do a lot. Not really, but the Eon Gate's going to fall down once again. What a cool matchup this is. Realistically, I think Aureil's still probably in a winning position, but what a awesome, really a truly awesome matchup this has turned into that we are getting treated with, even if we don't get to see any more of this today, although we should get Aureil Mixu next round, fingers crossed. What a cool matchup this is. What a great game from Gamefriend to stay alive to hang into this thing. Aureil getting that initial timing off and killing off a base and really putting Gamefriend on the back foot, but Gamefriend's on 4 bases. Well, never retook the natural, but it's on 3 bases here. Mining well enough, was able to go kill off this base. Aureil has not taken these bases, has started to take the center base now, so that's a little bit more money there. But Aureil mined out of the main base, mined out of the natural, mined out of this pocket third that they took. Nothing here. So Aureil is effectively mining on 1 base economy. Aureil's economy is really bad, and this natural, well, that can be retaken. Certainly, this base is mined out. So Gamefriend is also only on 1 base economy. So another Eon Gate pops out. Where's our Sentinel? Okay, we're just gonna drop a sentry drone. That's fine. So that's gonna be another Eon Gate that does not allow Aureil to pop out and just alpha strike this army from just point blank range. So I think Gamefriend might be doing it. He's down about 100 supplies, so the game is certainly not over, but Gamefriend is playing this incredibly well. Thanks really wants us to see some dogs out. It's like, is this actually dog time? 5 dogs would not be, I don't think the 5 dogs would be the worst thing ever. Is now, okay, Vectors jump in, jump out. They're going to have to back out of this one. But it's one thing to play defensively. It's another thing to get aggressive on the map and try to go kill Aureil. That is a far more difficult task, as now everything's going to pile out of the Eon Gate here. Can you get the damage going? Sides are going to dive on top of everything. There's the Purify. Evac has to run away, return to hangar. Atlases are now left on their lonesome, but can you kill them? Always a very important question here. More and more and more of these Hornets are going to fall down. A lot of the Vectors are getting low. They have to back away. The damage from these 2 Atlases is punishing. It's now only a 30 supply lead for Aureil at this point. And the Scythes in the middle of the map dealing with, okay, dealing with all the flyers as much as possible, but I think you need a little bit more. You just got to get on top of the evac. You take the evac down, it's a lot more difficult. They're chasing him down, but he's just a little bit too fast. Ring around the rosy here. He's not dying, but now he will. And there was an Atlas inside. So now only one Big Daddy Splash unit available here, not two. One Atlas not nearly as strong, as now surging away are the Sabres going back into the main base. They have to be so careful. Ian Gant, the low ground, has been taken down. It's important to note here, main base 1, not Surge. You don't have that to play around with. It's a 40 supply lead for Aureil at this point, but the Nano Swarm keeping this Atlas alive really, really well as another Saber falls. Aureil, he's on the verge of making this happen. He's on the verge of doing this, but it's so hard. The maneuverability of this army, the sides are starting to fall down. The supply is getting even closer. And what do we have for Aureil at this point? The answer is not a lot. This single Atlas, even though the evac is gone, this single Atlas is causing so many problems. And now there's another evac. I think Gamefriend's done it. I think Gamefriend has absolutely done it at this point. There is just it's not even that there's too much stuff, there's too much healing. Aureil cannot burst this down anymore. And Gamefriend, yeah, he's been down 100 supply for the majority of this game. But he's found the opportunities, he has taken down, he's probably killed 1,000 resources of Eon Gates at this point. And they're, what are they, 75? They're not that expensive. But Aureil had lost so many of them trying to play around on this peekaboo style, but has just been outscaled. And at this point, well, I'm not sure that there's anything Aureil can do. He just doesn't have the money for it anymore. Aureil might lose this game up supply in a rather significant way as the final Eon Gate's gonna fall down here. Aureil, he's got 2 more Sabres on the way. They're building slowly because we're in yellow power. Now, taking down a lot of these structures may actually help Aureil a little bit because there's less power required, but now we're going into red power. So these Sabres are a long ways off. It's gonna take a long ass time to get them out. And then you just need to hit this Alpha Strike. A bunch of Sabres firing at the same target, taking this Atlas down. Oh, and by the way, talking about taking this Atlas down, you have to remember that there are more in production. The economy of Gamefriend is not incredible. This base actually was killed. I didn't even realize this base was killed at some point. It's Aureil now setting up long distance mining elsewhere. Aureil's got an economy again. They've lost a lot of economy. They're in red power, but they have this base up and running. They have this base up and running. They have this, looks a little scuffed. This base is mining. They have 3 base mining right now. So if you give them, well, they had 4 base. Now they have 3 base mining. You give him enough time, he's gonna be fine, I think. Because there really is, it's long distance mining here. There's really not a lot of mining available. So you give him enough time, maybe. And I think for my druthers, given how this game is going, I would really, well, I say give him enough time. The bases are getting taken down, so he doesn't really have that time anymore. But I think for my druthers, I would love to see this arc station run across the map and kill off this base. You do have Celestial Hyperdrive. Yeah, you do. So you got Celestial Hyperdrive, you can surge this up, move a little bit faster, and using this arc station to go and kill off some of the very key structures that exist for our Vanguard player right now, I think that would do so much for Aureil's game. But for right now, we're not really seeing that as Aureil actually using these prisms to scout out just where the economy of Gamefriend is, because Gamefriend, it's long distance mining. He does not have, it's 175. He does not have a lot of money, at least this base from Aureil is mining a little bit more. It's 1 base versus 3/4 of a base, half a base. And when you're a Celestial player, when you're on tier 3 tech, you do have Evolution Protocol. You have this ability to go and take some of these big creep camps and get yourself a little bit more money that way. Use the V5 to put a little bit of pressure on your opponent, which is great. That might actually do something, but I think this army is too strong. At the end of the day, there are so many of these Hornets with Nano Swarm. We got these 2 Atlases. Actually, wait a minute here. I do like this. The V5 rocket not putting pressure on the opponent necessarily, but getting a little bit of damage done on the Atlases. I don't know if it's going to be enough is the problem here. Is the micro from Aureil just has to be so pristine. Now dashes backwards, runs back in, runs back into the Eon Gate, cloaks up once again. Nano bubbles here, so you take so much less damage, 75% less damage from really ranged attacks from beyond the bubble. The only thing Aureil's got going for himself really is this base on the left side that continues to allow him to mine a little bit more, but this Plasma Arc Infusion, the damage on the ground does so much here, and these Evo, or these Exos, they're not dying. They got survival protocol. You kill them once, they just get healed back up. It goes on cooldown, but you heal them once, it stays as it is. Also, I apologize the ads are running right now. I literally cannot stop it. I've used all my snoozes, but Gamefriend continues to try to move in, and Aureil is gonna get forced to tap out. What an incredible series. This is awesome. This is so good. Really from both sides, but Gamefriend's gonna move on, likely to face Mixer in the next round. If you like this, you want more Stormgate action, and how could you not? After this series, hit the sub button on YouTube, follow me on Twitch, and I'll catch you next time. Yes, please.